Hi, I'm Dr. Lynn, and I'm going to teach you some workplace yoga tips to keep your body and mind feeling good throughout the workday. So, first of all, lots of us tend to hunch over a keyboard and stare at a computer screen for long hours during the day. So if you haven't watched my tips on workplace ergonomics, definitely check that out, because the better aligned your body is, the less that tension will build up. Now, one thing you can do is think about tools to have in your environment to encourage a relaxed mind and body. One thing you could have is some positive affirmation cards on your desk, and you could choose a different one each day or each week. Positive affirmation cards usually come in a deck, like a card deck. And sometimes they come with a little holder here. So this is just two examples that I took from my deck of cards. This says, I am safe, I am loved, I am peaceful and at ease. The other one says, I am open to new opportunities and experiences. So if you're feeling stress coming into work or stress throughout the day, it can be helpful to have some positive words in your environment, or maybe it's even little fortune strips that you save or sayings that you like and write down on some sticky notes, or a favorite pet or loved one, a picture in your environment. That will just help you put things in perspective and remind you to have some positive thoughts throughout the day. The other thing that you want to do is have plenty of water handy to stay well hydrated during the day. I often find patients say that they drink more if they have a straw top, because instead of taking the time to unscrew the water bottle top, they could still be reading an email or watching a meeting and just grab it and sip it. Okay. Now let's talk about some actual movements to help your body. So certainly you want to take standing breaks throughout the day, at least every half an hour, but it's also helpful to have a few things that you could do right in your office chair. So because so much of us spend time reaching forward, the chest tends to get very tight. So about every 15 minutes, or maybe build in a natural cue, like when you're transitioning between meetings or between tasks, it's good to sit up nice and tall. Imagine that your body's stacked, so head right over shoulders, shoulders right over your pelvis, and your rib cage vertical, just meaning directly upright. And then do some big shoulder rolls. First, you can go front to back, as big as you can, and then reverse it, back to front. This helps to shake out tightness in the muscles, encourage blood flow. You're also getting a little thoracic spine movement as well. Next, take one hand and grab the other wrist, and then pull your arms forward gently, tuck your chin, and now let your back round a little bit and pull your shoulder blades apart. And then take really deep breaths into the space between your shoulder blades. And now reverse it. Press the palms of your hands into your thighs and arch your back slightly, like you're doing a very gentle back bend. Gaze upward, pull your shoulder blades down and back, squeezing them together a little bit. Really open up your chest, take giant breaths. Try to let your chest and belly fill with air on the inhale. Lengthen your pelvic floor outwards. And just let everything soften on the exhale. Next, we're going to practice some gentle spinal twists. So if you have an arm on your chair, you can reach to one side with both of your hands and grab the arm and pull yourself around into a gentle twist and gaze over your back shoulder. If that arm of the chair isn't available, you can also use your own thigh. So you can bring one hand across your body and put the back of your hand on your thigh. Put the other hand in a fist directly behind your back. Push upwards. Sitting nice and tall, use the back of that other hand to pull yourself around to a gentle spinal twist. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, deepen the twist. And then repeat it to the other side. You can either grab the arm of the chair and pull yourself around into a gentle twist. Or use your leg. Cross your arm over, use the back of your hand. Other hand punches down into the seat behind your back. Grow tall, inhale. Exhale, twist. Inhale, grow taller. Exhale, twist. And again. I'd suggest to get the benefit, holding each stretch position for at least about 3 deep breaths. Okay, next let's try a few things that can help your pelvic floor if you tend to get sore in sitting. I'm using a seat cushion with a tailbone cutout, which is helpful, but here's some movements that can be helpful. This is called a pelvic tilt. Pretend that your pelvis is a bowl of soup. You're gonna tip it forward and spill the soup onto your lap. And then you're gonna tip it backwards and spill the soup down the back of your tailbone onto the seat. Go back and forth. That just brings a little mobility into the tailbone and the pelvic floor. Again, it's really important to actually take standing breaks to completely get off your buttocks as well. Okay, now let's try a few things in standing. I'm gonna take off my shoes and put one foot up on my chair seat and then tuck the buttocks, squeeze the butt, and press the pelvis forward. This is a version of a standing lunge. It can really help to open up the front of your hip and stretch your hip flexors that tend to get very tight with all that sitting. Breathe into the front of your hip. You can even rest your forearm on your thigh and add a little overhead reach and side bend. And then you'd repeat it on both sides. So I'm gonna put my other foot up, tuck my tailbone, squeeze the buttocks and press forward, and then add the side bend. A lot of people get really tight between their shoulder blades and get muscle knots. I think it's helpful to have a lacrosse ball or tennis ball on your desk. This is one that is made with 2 balls stuck together. You could also make something like this by putting 2 balls in the toe of a tube sock and tying a knot to hold the balls together. I'm gonna place it on my back against the wall, right between my shoulder blades like this. The dip is so that the pointy part in the middle of your spine has a place to go. You really wanna roll on the muscle strips on either side. Okay, so I'm putting it between my shoulder blades, leaning into the wall, and then I'm gonna shuffle my feet outwards a little bit, so I'm really leaning into it. And then I'm going to bend my knees and roll down, and then straighten my knees and come back up. If you try this and find that there's a really tender spot, you could pause, rock onto it, take some deep breaths, really breathing into that spot, spend a little bit more time there. Another tool that can be useful is a cane like this. This has some handles you can hold, but it's hook shaped so you can reach your back in those hard to get spots. So a couple of my favorite spots to get are right here, right in the middle of the shoulder blade area. So I'm holding the handles. I'm gonna pull forward so that that tip sinks into the muscle. And then I'm gonna gently pull outwards to the inner tip of my shoulder blade. Okay, so I'm sort of strumming across some of those long muscles next to the spine, but not going directly over the bony middle of the spine and not bumping onto the bony part of my shoulder blade. Another really good spot to get is right here, the upper trapezius, the top of the shoulder. Now I'm gonna hold the cane a little bit more vertical, hold the handles and sink downwards. So the hook is pressing down into the upper trapezius, a soft area right between the base of the neck and the more bony part of the shoulder out here. If you find a really tender spot, you could just hold that pressure point, take some deep breaths into it, and then you could also stroke along the muscle, going from your neck out to the edge of the shoulder, or strum across it. Okay. And last thing, always remember to take deep breaths throughout the day. When we start to take shallow breaths, especially just here in our upper chest, it signals our body that we might be in danger. It sort of puts our nervous system into more fight or flight mode. So even if you're dealing with a stressful situation, try to remember to breathe all the way around 360 degrees into your lower rib cage. Soft belly, soft pelvic floor. And then even if there's still those stressors in the work environment, it will signal your body to be more calm, to manage that stress better, so you're less likely to build up tension in common places like the pelvic floor, your shoulders, and your jaw. Thanks for watching, and I hope you try some of these tips at work.